We walk in the front door. It's kind of shady. It's a $6 massage. And the masseuses are just staring at the ceiling. We walk in
Right.
and they're like, hello. And we're like, oh, they're blind.
Wait, first, was my guy shirtless or not?
No,
my guy
he was
shirtless?
not shirtless.
Okay. So we get to Nam. They have these tunnels. It's a dark tunnel.
It's a human centipede army crawling tunnel.
Not only human centipede, real centipede. It's like an actual... Dude, I can't describe it,
It's
dude.
an actual King Cobra. I couldn't believe it. It didn't feel real.
I think it was the most fun thing I've ever done in my life.
Whoa!
Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where I don't know what we talk about anymore. Is this thing recording? How do we do
We're
podcasts?
really close to figuring it out, though. Really close.
You know what I did figure out? Hey, don't leave. If you're listening, don't leave. We almost died, and it was kind of cool.
Don't leave.
I don't. I keep people here. This is gonna be sick. We've been gone for like 2 months. 1 month in Asia. I've been kind of just off the grid in general for 2 months, but we got some crazy stories. Some ups, some downs, some. Belky apparently almost just cracked his head open.
I did.
And that was like the best thing that happened to him.
Walked into a Viet Cong booby trap.
Gotta watch out, dude. We still never figured that one out. We couldn't really figure out why they had to painfully kill people. But hey, yeah, we went to Vietnam. Dude. Okay. Hold on. Overwhelmed. So today was
Hold on. Because I can see it. There's this inner podcast battle where we know what we have to do to make this podcast amazing, and we're gonna do it. And I see you trying with the hooks,
dude.
But I know you just. I can see it.
I know.
I applaud you for trying.
No, this isn't. I don't know what this isn't going to be the one that pops off. We're going to try a new format right after this. It was supposed to be today, but then I'm like, there's a lot we have to unpack from this trip to Asia. So I want to do that on like the final podcast. And then we got to do a 2022 recap at some point.
Oh, it's May. It's May 1st. I listened to an episode of, first of all, the episode was called How to Make Money episode. And that's when I knew this podcast was
right.
off
The title.
rails.
To clarify, how to make money. Then, as
Capital
still part
E.
of the title, capital E episode. Just why not, dude?
Because why not? And so I was listening to that released like a couple days ago, probably April 29th, and we were saying it was February 15th in that episode. So I don't know where we are in the space-time continuum.
No,
you're not fooling anyone with that green screen.
Well,
me neither.
The gravity couch warps it all, and no one knows what the gravity couch is unless you've been a true fan. So that's for all the true fans. There you go. No, so we'll be viral tomorrow, but we got some nice little knick-knack stories today, and I think we just gotta get into it. But one really quick, I'm just gonna comment. I think the green screen, it's gonna be my hack because we can put whatever we want behind.
Yeah, you can.
I think
you can key you right out.
I might just, like the Dharmesh thing, we can get a photo of the Smart Nonsense light that we have and then put a photo of the light behind.
I gotta send that to you. I still gotta send that to you.
No, you should keep it and actually build something out other than your little background right now. Hey, let's get into it though. Okay, so every couple years, it was ideally every year, but we had COVID. We try and do a big trip, a boys' trip. Ideally, it's all our college friends. But unfortunately, a lot of those friends are W-2s. Which, for our listeners that don't know, a W-2 is what you get if you're an employee. They're employees. They have PTO, but you only get so much PTO. And so if you're one of us
14
that wants
days,
to travel
usually.
all the time, your 13 days, you're going to use them up with your family, not your friends. So our only real crazy friend that's always down for adventure is this man named Tomas. His actual name is Tom. But his travel name is Tomas or Tomatillo, as we learned. Apparently, he grew up in a Mexican community somewhere in Connecticut.
He's also the whitest guy ever. The
The
whitest
whitest.
of our friends. I'm white. He's really white.
Right, right. And
You're
you're
white too, but
glowing.
everyone in Vietnam thought you were Filipino.
Well, Filipino is the Mexican of Asia.
Oh, I am glowing.
Yeah.
Let me take that down. What's going on
So
here?
it's us three, right? And we want to go on adventures. And I think it was me because I've been thinking about this for a while, but I'm like, hey, let's do a little motorcycle Vietnam. Because
Yeah,
it's
why
like
not?
this crazy adventure, something you're probably not going to want to do when you have kids and things to lose in life, because as we learned, it's kind of dangerous. Uh, and so the boys rally. We're like, hey, we did Kilimanjaro a couple years ago, right before COVID. Let's step it up. Let's get them these hogs, which we didn't even realize there were hogs till we were there. But these big bikes and just go all around the country. So
Caveat:
yeah,
none of us know how to ride a motorcycle. Not a single one of us.
huge caveat.
Except you, weirdly, as like a 6-year-old, you learned how to ride a dirt bike.
Uh, yeah, there was this weird phase in my life, which none of my college friends know, but it's when my parents got divorced, and then my mom got with Zach, and they're like a farm family, so everyone just rode dirt bikes, and so I just learned to ride dirt bikes for like a couple years,
Hillbilly kid.
um, and it was sick. So I was the only one with some experience, and I didn't really know you guys never rode. I kind of knew, but we were doing
You're
like trying to explain
Yeah, right.
manual how
So
to
your
shift.
lesson for us was when the engine gets loud, squeeze left hand, click left foot, twist right wrist, release left hand. Like that was our lesson for driving a manual
Right,
bike.
right.
Loud
That
engine, squeeze foot,
right,
twist.
it's like a twist it, bop it, shake it sort of thing. That's all I really remembered, and I think I had the order all wrong. But regardless, this is what our next adventure is going to be. And then we're also going to try and bop into the Philippines, where our whole team is, have a nice little meetup, and then hit Singapore on the way out, which is just a cool country. And Henry's girlfriend's family is from there,
Well, that's a
or
foreshadow,
lives there.
right? So that was our mistake. We're like, it's so expensive to get to Vietnam. Might as well do a company retreat on the back end. Might as well go see my
By
girlfriend's
that
parents because I
logic,
see them
might
once
as
a
well
year.
just live there. Why not?
I don't know
Just
why we're
stay.
still not there.
Right.
You almost stayed.
No, I'll tell you why. Because it's 100,000 fucking degrees, dude. So
It's a
okay,
swamp.
we want to fly out to this swampland, dude. It's like in Star Wars, you know that like marsh Yoda, like where Yoda's from. That's what all of Southeast Asia felt like.
I
Um,
don't, but I know the feeling because I
well,
was there.
it's like I just remember a scene because my dad references it a lot. It's where like Yoda's in the backpack of Luke, and they're like going through. I forget. It's been a while since I watched Star Wars, but I didn't really know this. Henry, you kind of told me about Singapore sucking, but we get on the plane, right? All the boys kind of link up in New York, and then we all fly, which is going to be basically 2 days to get to Southeast Asia, both there and then 2 days to get back. But we're not even thinking about getting back because it's a fucking month we're gonna be gone. So we get on the plane, and I don't know why, but I couldn't reserve a seat, so that's a bummer, right? Start a trip with. This is gonna be so fucking. We gotta squeeze this into 30 minutes. Hold on. Okay, maybe
No,
I'll
you
fast
got
forward
this.
through.
You got this. This is good. We're only at 7.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to this
How do
whole
you
trip.
remember these things? Do you take notes?
How do I remember? So I sit in this middle seat, right? I couldn't reserve my seat, so I get put in the middle seat. That's a problem, right? Because it's a 12-hour flight just to get to Doha, to then do an 8-hour flight to then get to Ho Chi Minh City, which is Saigon. Um, on this 12-hour flight, right? All is fine, right? Middle seat, I can suck it up. I'm young. The problem is, I sit next to who I thought at the time was just this friendly Filipina. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, the way Dylan says friendly Filipina, probably some hot 20-year-old minx, right?
That's what I
Nah,
thought. Well, wait. So
I,
so
that's what I
so
wished.
about 3 hours into the flight, Tom comes over to me. I'm in an aisle seat, premium economy, and he comes over to me and he's like, Dylan has not stopped talking to the girl next to him. And I was like, yes, dude, that's exactly what he's looking for. I get up, I walk over to you, and I did not see who I thought I was going to see.
It was a mature woman.
A mature,
Mature woman.
mature,
And no,
fully.
it was like you said there, Tom, or you basically counted 3 hours. 3 hours in, I got about 3 words into this lady. It started off as just like, "Hey, where are you going?" And then the next 3 hours was just her life story with almost almost zero input from me. I think this is okay, this is the one funny part. Dude, I could literally talk for 3 weeks about this 3-week trip. Um, there was this one point, literally 2 hours and 45 minutes in, where she's just telling me, like, all about her childhood getting, like, abused and, like, her husband also having a similar childhood and just, like, their whole life story. And then she looks at me because there was a little lull and, like, she kinda was running out of steam 2 hours and 45 minutes in, and I was just fucking checked out. Like, dude, I
Do,
literally had to put
do
a
people understand how many hours that is? That is
dude,
so many hours to be checked out.
we're 8 minutes into a podcast. Imagine this, but no back and forth, just me ranting for 3 hours straight. So she finally starts running out of gas, and I'm just like fucking fed up. We're like eating through. Normally there's like dinner time, and like after dinner is when like everyone's like, okay, we can like check out. She kept going. So little lull, and then she looks at me, and I was just giving her like nods for literally 3 hours, and then I look at her, and she's like, "How about you?"
Ah! But here's what I don't understand. Here's what what'd
But
you say?
and you're like, okay, Dylan, that sentence didn't make sense. Why would she just talk about her life story for 3 hours straight, and then out of nowhere just say, "How about you?" That's what I thought. I was like, I was like, what do you mean? How about me? It was literally like, yeah. Then I was abused, and then we have this huge business. It's gotten like $50 million a year. It's that for 3 hours. Then just, how about you?
Ah,
Is it my turn to go for 3 hours, or how does this work?
what I can't figure out is how you couldn't figure out any mechanism to get her to stop. Like
Zero, dude.
AirPods in, like literally anything.
Well,
You just let
what
that go
also
on?
didn't help was I was in a middle seat, so I had my neck craned like this the whole fucking 3 hours. So dude, I was doing every exercise in the books. We're not even off the flight, dude. Fuck.
I
Okay, sorry.
forgot about that.
It fucking absolutely sucked, and that was just the start of the trip. And then I couldn't sleep for any of the flights, so I just got to Vietnam just destroyed.
And you had COVID,
Oh, right, right. She probably gave it
which
to me,
we
dude.
which we find out later.
Yeah.
Foreshadow.
Spoiler alert, or foreshadow,
The
depending on how you look
atomizer.
at it. Okay, so we get to Nam.
Atomizer.
Oh no, see, I didn't have the atomizer in my
We're
stomach.
gonna need more time. We're gonna need a lot more time.
Okay, so this is sick,
Dude, I
right?
thought
Start
we
the
were gonna
trip.
talk about the Cobra. I thought that's the
I
only
did
thing we're
too,
gonna
but
talk about.
the
We're on the
Cobra's.
middle seat.
I forgot about the middle seat till we started talking about the flight, and then I remembered it.
That's why I tell you, you gotta show up to these pods free flow
Yeah,
because you
dude,
you never know what's gonna come up.
your
You
shirt might
don't.
come off, and you might start smoking cigs. Who knows? China reference, dude. Who's with us? Anybody? All right. So we get to Nam. And the thing is, like, I don't like checking my phone because I'll get like, I'll look on Instagram and get a little FOMO. And the minute we touch down in Nam, it is just absolute fucking balls to the wall chaos where you have one weather that is literally 100 degrees of just sweltering. Your balls are melting off you, sort of uh, like jungle
It's a
swamp weather.
jungle. They built a city in a jungle. It's a rainforest. Feels like
It's
one.
people aren't meant to live there, but that's fine. Just throw some concrete and people start living there. And these people, though, I don't know if they didn't set up a good rule of law. It appears that way, or maybe we fucked it up for a little bit in their history. It's chaos, dude. It's chaos. You got like 1,000 of these motorcycles, just more like mopeds, ripping through the streets. Like people trying to cross, but they don't have crosswalks. They barely have street lights, so it's just like when you see like Indian videos of Indian people crossing, like half of it must be Vietnam because there's no rule of law in the streets. Um, so I get there and I'm like, this is fucking chaos. I'm sweating my balls off. I'm already through like a shirt or two. My underwear is caked, and I look in my phone because we finally get like some internet connection, and I see it's like the nicest day ever in New York City.
Oh,
It's
that's
like
tough.
Saturday and Sunday. It's just beautiful, 75 degrees. Everyone's out just enjoying life, and we're just drenched.
First
And
day of
I'm like,
spring.
uh, uh, okay, sick start to the trip. But I'm not a FOMO guy, dude.
Welcome to Saigon.
Welcome to
Welcome to
Saigon,
Saigon. One
the
day in
land of the free.
Saigon.
So we're here. We're in Saigon. It's sick. We're basically booting up. I don't know if I had any like good stuff from Saigon. We're kind of just hanging.
We were just hanging. Saigon's a great city. The food is great. It's
Oh,
chaos, like you said.
okay.
Oh,
Not
the
much to
the
Saigon. We went to
Coochie
their
tunnels?
museums. Their museums are like the worst museums I've ever seen in my
Horrible.
life. It was almost like Chat GPT. It was like, hey, make a museum, and it just spit out like the most generic. We couldn't even read the exhibits because it was like the corporate development of the trade economics in it was just like the plaques for everything was just translated bad, or they just didn't know how to do education. That's fine though, because we do something cool. We go to these basically. Hey, if you care about the Vietnam War, what's cool about the Vietnam War,
I didn't
which
until I did.
you didn't till you did. You just did not like history. But I knew a lot about this, and I knew the one fucked up thing, which you didn't want to be as a soldier in Vietnam. You did not want to be, oh, what the fuck do they call them? Like
There's the one
the
thing
people
you
that
knew.
went in the tunnels. These like
The Viet
there's a word
Cong.
for them. I wish I knew the word. The Viet Cong, they have these tunnels, and there's like a crazy history of how they made them. But they basically go from like Laos to Saigon, the city. It's like I don't know,
Hundreds of kilometers.
hundreds of kilometers of just tunnels, and it's not like the tunnels you'd imagine, where I don't know, like a tunnel is like a
Like
normal
a
thing you'd be
like
able to walk in.
or
It's
have
like
like a little mine car in maybe?
right,
A
right, a
mine car
tunnel.
tunnel?
Not one of those. It's like a I'm El Chapo breaking out of prison tunnel. And
Army crawl
not only
tunnel.
that though, it's it's a tunnel where it, it's in the jungle. I don't know if we've mentioned this. It's in the jungle. So it's like fucking two it's literally like an oven tunnel. And you're just it's the most claustrophobic thing. But we go to these. Okay? We go to them. They're called the Coochie tunnels. Um oh fuck, dude.
What
Fuck, dude.
happened?
I remember the lacquer, dude.
What
I remember
lacquer?
um sorry, this storytelling is bad. I'm all over the place. But
What lacquer?
there was this thing that happened in the Vietnam War. Okay, they had the tunnels. They also had this thing called Agent Orange, because it's
Oh.
a jungle and the jungle sucks. So you want to like tear down the jungle so that you can actually shoot the Viet Cong if you're an American.
Well,
Shoot them.
let let me just add, because we went on a trek at one point through the jungle. There is no way for us to describe how dense of a jungle this is. It like it's like what's the word when light doesn't go through something? It's not iridescent, it's not fluorescent. It starts with
Didn't
an
do
O.
well.
It
Opaque.
starts with opaque. This jungle is opaque. There is no air going through it. There is no light going through it. You look
Mm.
over in the jungle, it is like densest thing you've ever seen in your life.
And it's
So no
the hottest month
wonder,
of the year.
and it's hot. And then when you're over the Coochie tunnels, they showed us there'll just be a little plaque in the ground. It's like this big, and it's covered in leaves, and you're just walking, and then they just lift up this plaque, and they're like, "That's a tunnel now. That's hundreds of kilometers of tunnels," and it just
Right.
blends into the
But
ground. It's like
it's
you would
like
never.
make sure you go that way, because that you don't want to. You want to make sure
Oh
you
yeah,
turn
they're
the right
one
way, and
way.
it's a one-way tunnel.
They're also
'Cause
one way.
they're
So it's
tiny.
100 kilometers to Laos, or you turn right, and it's 100 kilometers to Saigon. Which way do you want to go? Because you're going to go that way for 3 weeks.
And I felt like a big baller, right? I was getting in the tunnels. I'm like, this is sick. I wanted to do like the real tunnel that they actually did, which is a lot tighter. Like they had the tourist tunnel, which is like 3 times bigger, and you could almost like half walk through. I went into the real tunnel, and dude, immediately it was like, I wish I could describe heat better, but it was like covered in sweat. I looked down the tunnel, and it's dark. Like there are no lights. I don't know if you realize
It's a
this, but
tunnel.
it's a tunnel. It's not like a mining tunnel. It's a dark tunnel,
It's
and
it- it's it's a human centipede army crawling tunnel. It
right.
is it is 16 inches tall.
But not only human centipede, real centipede. Because I get in this tunnel and I'm like, wow, it'd be really bad if there were like bugs or snakes in here. Because
Because you're a
we're
big
in the
baby.
middle of the jungle. And part of me is, here's something I'll realize, and it comes up later in the story here as we talk about it. Um, I forget we're in nature because I'm a city boy now, right? I'm used to city. I'm
Look at
used
you.
to civilization. So when I see like you go on Netflix and you watch like Planet Earth or something, and you see these crazy places and these beasts, these crocodiles, these snakes, these serpents, whatever they are, you're like, oh, that's nature. What I didn't realize, I failed to realize, because we're kind of bridging the gap very quickly between civilization and not, is this is nature. So now in the tunnels, I'm like, oh, this is chill, right? They probably make sure there aren't snakes in here because, like, occasionally some crazy American will want to go down the tunnels. Nope, dude. Nope. We're not checking that out. So I get in the tunnel and just like immediately see, start crawling with the GoPro, immediately see like this giant fucking bug, like right to my right, another like centipede looking thing right behind it. And I
And you screamed.
panic
You
and
squealed.
I squeal. I don't even think I was into the tunnel. I was just
No.
barely breaching. And
No.
I flailed out. Um, but
That was
hey,
the coochie tunnels.
dude, the problem with I got to keep the story progressing. The problem, I get really fed up when I'm like, wow, we went down this rabbit hole for 5 minutes and it wasn't even a good story.
It's like the no, it was a good story. It was a good story.
No,
But
but
it's
there are
like
better stories.
when
There are
Mr.
better stories.
Beast sits through a podcast and he's just got retention brain. Like all he can think about is audience retention. It's like once you see it, it's
Well,
so hard. It's so hard
I
to go back.
I got retention brain and T brain because I know the longer we go, the less T we get. So I got to get to the
That
good
too.
part.
Keep it rolling.
Okay,
Yes.
can't stall out, dude. All right, so
Can't
fucking
stall.
we're
Speaking
on
of
a.
stalling out. Speaking of stalling out, I was on my way to a meeting today.
Oh, I
Uh,
forgot Tomas
I'm
tipping,
riding my
dude.
bike. I'm.
Oh,
I'm. Tomas, what?
tipping. Okay, okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We won't go more than 15 more minutes, I swear. And I'm riding to this meeting and I'm along the lake. It's beautiful, but it's cold. And then all of a sudden, my Super 73 just goes back wheel locks up. Locks up. I almost wipe out. Foreshadow. And that was it, dude. The back wheel on my Super 73 won't turn. So I missed the meeting. I lugged the thing home. I dragged it into an Uber. I think the motor's shot. I think
Oh,
it got shot by salt water over the winter. So that's my tangent, and
oh, nice,
that's
dude.
what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
Well, you ride hogs now, so might as well get a dirt bike or a motorcycle.
Yes, dude. So
So
we
that's
fly to the town to start riding the hogs.
right. Let's start the ride, dude, because that's what we're
Why
actually
not?
here for, right?
Let's
Why
start
not?
the ride.
30 minutes in.
Which,
Okay.
wait, by the way, so we thought we were going to. We didn't plan this trip. We thought we were going to ride from Saigon to Hanoi.
No,
Turns
dude.
out,
No,
what?
no.
Well,
That's
I
part of the
won't give it
story.
away. I won't give it away. But we land in Saigon, and I think that was the first time we looked at a map, and we're like, "Oh, this country long as fuck. This
It's.
country south to north long as fuck.
I think it's
This,
like south to north, as long as the United States, like
too
Florida
long.
to Rhode Island
Too
or
long for
Maine.
some boys who have never ridden a motorcycle, and by the way, have 7 days to do so.
Right. So very quickly we're like, okay, we can't ride this. We gotta fly. So we
Audible.
fly to this city. It's called Hoi An. It's a beautiful city. It's like right on the water. They have this lantern festival. It's awesome, right? Very romantic if you had not two guys with you. But we get two guys. So what
Or
are you gonna do? You're gonna
romantic.
ride hogs. You're gonna ride hogs. Not gonna
You are
make
gonna
out. You're
ride the
gonna ride
hogs.
hogs. So we get not just like mopeds, not just motorcycles. Hogs, dude. We get these nice, and this for motorcycle or like motorbike people, they're not that big for like a normal person. 150cc. To us, they're hogs. Because
Plenty.
all we're
Plenty.
seeing. This is like kind of a key part of the trip. The whole time, all you see are mopeds. Everyone's just riding these little rinky-dink mopeds.
Silent scooters. They're silent.
Haven't seen, and still really didn't see until like the end of the trip, any hogs, any big ass bikes. And so we roll up and we're like, hey, we're balling out. We're going premium economy. We're getting the best of the best. And this like dude that doesn't speak any English, he just revs this hog and he's like, this is yours, dude. And it was throaty, dude. Throaty. Right. So Belky's panicking because he's never ridden. Tom's panicking. I'm panicking. We're all panicking because we're about to lock down these hogs. And this guy that doesn't speak in English gives us the keys, and we're also talking to this like very tiny woman, Ha, who barely speaks English herself, but she's like high heels, 4'5". So you you fucking do the
You do
math
the
there.
math.
Um, but we get the keys, and we roll out immediately, just stalling in the street.
Well,
We don't know what
it's
we have to do.
here's the keys. Now go get on that busy street right outside and see ya.
Right, right.
That's it.
See you in 2 weeks. It's like
Tom's like, can I have a lesson? I'm like, silent old man just gave me a lesson. It's just click the foot.
right, right,
Just click
right.
the foot. Give it some
And
gas.
that
Click the foot.
it's a mess, but we finally get them up and running. We happen to be just right on the side of these like rice paddies, and we're just learning how to ride them. We open it up on the rice paddies. It's like this. It's like kites in the rice paddies, and the rice paddies are like barely below the grass when you're riding. So it's I don't know how to describe it, but it felt like we were riding on water. But
Mystical.
I don't know. It was magical, mystical.
Well, it was cool because it was right at the moment where the actual muscle memory started to click for
Mm,
how to ride a bike. And then you're in this just crazy. We were off the main road. We were riding through the rice paddies, and it was like so serene.
yeah. And if you're not watching on YouTube, we'll probably have some B-roll here because we get a lot of B-roll. So awesome. We get up and running. We get back, and we try and test them out in the city, I think, a little bit. And we're fine. We're ready to go the next day. So next day comes, and we're like, basically in my head, I guess what I didn't realize was I was the most prepared for this trip because Tom just came
Most.
off like this, I don't know, a couple weeks in Europe backpacking around. And so he was mentally drained. He had no like research time involved. I inadvertently, by like watching 2 YouTube videos on what to do motorcycling in Vietnam, was the most informed. Didn't know
Which
this
is
because I'm a
rare
back pop.
because
They
you're
call
back pop,
right.
which
They're front
means,
pops and back pops.
right, a back pop just hangs in the back of the group. He's dilly dallying. He's just following the leader. And for
Just
you to have the logistics, it's unbelievable,
no.
really.
Well,
Unbelievable.
it's so unbelievable. We didn't believe it, and I didn't get the logistics. Um, so it was Tom leading the way, and we all like know we want to go through this cool pass, which is called like the High Van Pass, which is basically riding up, I don't know, a couple thousand feet into the mountains, just overlooking this beautiful ocean. And we do like a bunch of little trail explorations along the way. Um, awesome pass. Not really much there to talk about. And we keep
Great
ripping.
pass.
Great pass. Yeah. Hands off to the pass. Uh, hands off, hats off. So we,
Hands off for the pass.
um,
See, that's
so we
like such
ride through
a
there.
when we get into the right format for this podcast, you've just got a stupid stick animation whose hands just fall off. Like it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good when we
One
figure it
day
out.
this will be good. So we rip through. We go. I'm got my itinerary up on my phone right now. We go through there. We have lunch in this beautiful place. We eat like these giant clams that cost way too much money.
Whoa. Wait,
But
before the clam, we have a motto at this point. We're
yeah,
so stoked about the hogs and how fun they are to ride once you figure it out. The trip, it's a virgin trip at this point, and the motto is just like today we ride.
today
Every
we
minute
ride.
of every day, of all these first days was just today we ride. And when we
Well,
were finished riding, it was tomorrow we ride, and then
right.
today
We
we
got
ride.
beat up fast, but it was like the ultimate freedom because you throttle down. You can go 0 up to 80 miles an hour just through the mountains. It's the most
Whatever
beautiful
you
thing in the
want,
world.
whatever you
Whatever
want.
you want, really. And so we're
Wind in your
ripping.
hair.
Yeah. Well, with you guys, because your helmets didn't fit, so they kind of flew off your head for most of it. So awesome. We get through. We're flying. Highways. Okay. So we get to the first city. Kind of cool. We like make it in the night, and it's also awesome because we're kind of at times going through these like little towns, and we're just the Mazung. Like we're the white conquerors, basically. Like these like alien species coming
Conquerors.
through. It feels like we're like conquistadors. Like
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? There was also this really like it was like, oh, like in the South especially, it was like, oh, Americans. Like there was this sentiment where because the South and the US were fighting together. So
Right.
there was kind of a love for America in the South. So when we're
Yeah.
riding through towns, it's just like smile and wave, like we're
Well,
back, baby.
just big white dudes on hogs, dude. They don't have highs. This is like right. You
Yeah,
can
they
hear it
were
coming from a
really
mile
loud,
away.
so
Um,
loud.
so this is awesome. Everyone's
3 of
smiling,
them in a
waving to
row.
us. We finally get in. It was a little sketchy the first day because we were like, it was dark by the time we got in, but that's fine. Second day riding, big day riding. We it pretty much sucked ass the whole day. It was like
That's when
we
this
start
model
off.
wore off really quickly.
Well, I also think that I atomized the first night.
Oh.
I started getting COVID, which we didn't know at the time, but I was destroyed, and destroyed the bathroom and just
Worst smelling thing I've smelled in my life, and I've got a high tolerance. I
right. Well, that
don't
was
I don't mind really anything. Worst smelling thing I've smelled in my whole life.
it. Was the fall the pho. I can't even speak. Okay, whatever. Uh, what are
The
those? Banh mi.
atomizer, which I lost it over earlier, was you having to close the door, turn the shower on as hot as it goes, and hope to God that the water would atomize the smell. And
And
it
luckily it
actually
did.
did. It
Right.
actually did.
I learned that from my days with Paula. Um, no, we don't.
Oh!
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Oh, that's a
No.
different podcast episode.
Um, no, my bad, dude.
The Dumb
Okay, so
Nonsense
we're
podcast.
back on the road, but day two is a sucky day.
We're gonna have to bring that one out at some point.
um, so we ride. We start on the highway and pretty much do a highway the whole day, which we didn't
Yeah.
expect because I'm like pretty sure this is supposed to be a sick ride, but it wasn't a sick ride. We're like, we started on the highway, then got off to these like logging roads, which was just like out in the fucking boondocks, dude. Like no one should ever go there. It was like we're getting strange looks. It wasn't like people waving hi. It was like, what the fuck are you doing here? But I like we have Belky and I, we don't have access to maps. It's only Tom front popping us, and so he's leading the way. Um, and like there aren't even places to stop for food because we're in the middle of nowhere and it's literally just logging trucks. And so we finally stop at like this
and
house
like
and
and like cold trucks. We've all got blackface
right.
from riding
It's like
behind these
mining towns.
massive trucks.
Um, so we like finally like see a house. We try stopping at a bunch of places, like little houses. One house like seems like they have food there. So we just roll in and we're like, yo, 3 pho. The first thing out of our mouths, and it's just a bunch of like
It's the only thing we
Vietnamese
knew.
dudes just like 3 pho. 3 pho. Just like what the fuck? Where did these aliens come from? Whatever. We bull with them for a little bit, then we hit the road again. Almost get steamrolled by a tractor trailer truck trying to pass another tractor trailer truck. It like I
You
don't know,
actually
dude.
almost died. You
I
actually
almost
almost
died. Had to veer off the road.
First of like 4 times.
But that's fine. Keep on trucking. We finally get to the city. We're intending to go, but it was like a shitty day overall. We get some blind massages. I get C-clamped.
Oh,
Which
well, so oh man, you're kind of right about this 33-minute mark. Uh,
I know.
the blind massage is a whole story in and of itself.
That's what I'm
Because
saying,
okay,
dude.
so here's what
We
happened.
just
I'll,
gotta
I'll lead this
truck
one.
on, dude.
Let me lead this one. I'll truck
Okay.
on. So we're looking up places to get massages in this town, and Tom finds like the nearest by place with highest ratings is a blind massage place, and I'm like, oh, that's actually quite normal. My girlfriend talks about it all the time. They have them in China. They're supposed to be fantastic because these people can't see, but they have heightened touch senses, so they can like really get in your muscles. So I'm like, great. And then the three of us kind of talking. We're like, do we really want to do a blind massage right now? Not really. So whatever. We walk and we find another place that you find that's highly rated, and we walk in the front door. It's kind of shady. It's a $6 massage, and the masseuses are just staring at the ceiling.
Right.
We walk
Right.
in and they're like, hello. And we're like, oh, they're blind.
for some
Which
reason,
is fine.
I think
Which
they
is
could like
fine.
at least like angle wise, they could be all right. I don't know why they have to look directly up, but they did.
Because we could have come from upstairs. I don't know. And then the second masseuse comes in and he's looking, we're standing in the room next to him and he's looking toward the door. Like, who's there? And what's funny is Tomas. So we set up the massage. It's all fine. It's fine. We turn to Tomas and we're like, Tomas, they're blind. And he's like, they're blind? We're
Dude
like,
had no idea.
Tomas.
Tapped. So yeah, kind of the problem is we roll in as 3 bodies and come asking for massages, and I think a lot of these places just aren't equipped for 3 people at once because they're
No,
like
it's weird.
small towns. It's just a couple people. So we get into the room, and it's like Belky's got one person, Tom's
No, it
got
starts with
another.
Tom. It starts with Tom.
Oh,
So,
Tom was the first. Oh, it was.
well,
Oh yeah, because
so it's the three of us laying in a room together, and the first woman just starts on Tom, and there's
right,
nobody around for you and I,
right,
and we're
and they
just
don't speak
sitting there.
English,
They
so
don't
it's
speak
really weird.
English, and we're a little bit on edge because we've never had a blind massage before, but that's okay. We're open to it, and it's just you and I giggling because we're
Because
watching
we're
this. Frankly, this blind woman just rubbed Tomas down for like 10 minutes.
right, right. No one was coming. There was no indication that someone was coming, except in the background. In the background, I hear a little bit of commotion, right? And so like something's going on because they had 2 people, but they need 3, right? So
Well, in the
where are you gonna
background,
get this
there's
started?
someone just hawking loogies
Hawking loogies, dude. I don't know if they shook
from
this person up, got him off the street, or where, but it's just like it's a scary. You can't see no one can see what's going on. It's just loogie noises somewhere in the background. So finally, people come in, and I'm respectful in my massages. I close my eyes. Belky, I thought closed his eyes, but didn't. And
Well, you usually have to, but I realized about halfway through, like, we're not gonna make eye contact with the masseuse. Therefore, I don't have to close my eyes.
right,
That
right.
was my mindset.
I never
And I
realized
look,
that was the purpose of closing your eyes. But yeah,
it's
that
just a little
is
awkward, so they put the towel over your eyes. And I
no
look over,
no towel.
and I see you just eating it up. You're having the best massage of your life, and you were.
I Is that
And I
sarcasm?
see,
That's gonna be sarcasm, right?
well, I see a dirty little secret. I
Well,
look over and
no.
I see a
Here, let me
dirty little
describe it
secret.
from my perspective first. My
Yes.
perspective is I lie down and I get the hawker. I realize I get the hawker because he's like,
Well, yeah, and so give me your perspective, and then like when we started talking about it after.
well. So here's the only thing I've really seen, and correct me if my memory is failing, but I remember. Wait. First, was my
Just
guy
how was the
shirtless or
massage?
not? Was my guy
No, he
shirtless?
was not shirtless.
Okay. 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 That part I wasn't sure.
What?
Okay. Sorry. This part, that's why I had to clarify because I wasn't sure if I was fabricating that. I think I built him up to be a
Totally
nasty.
fabricated.
Okay. The rest is not fabricated. The rest is truth as I remember. So first,
Shirtless masseuse
he was
right now.
he was wearing jean shorts though. Was that
Yeah,
okay?
and like a
Jean
polo.
shorts. Maybe I associate the two jean shorts and shirt is Cypriots, but not Cypriot. He's Vietnamese, full blown. But first, I'm imagining basically like you ever watch Men in Black, and
No.
there's the guy. He's like disgusting slug of a human being, and he has
Oh,
like a
come
cat or
on.
something. No, I think that's like his character is like disgusting slug character, like he's
Yeah,
from
how's
another
that going to
world.
relate to your masseuse?
Because this guy, I thought he was that. Oh yeah, I guess that's mean if I compare him, but he's just like maybe this guy gave me COVID. I don't know
Oh,
when I got COVID.
maybe.
I might have just had
Maybe.
like food.
But just explain the massage. Just explain the
Okay.
massage.
So thank you. So the massage, basically, to my understanding, is I first get. It basically feels like this on my shoulder blade, just really fucking hard,
Yeah.
really hard. Just you got to be seeing this on, but basically just clamping your fingers.
Alligator
and your thumb
hand.
together. Alligator hand. And I'm like,
Squeezing
wow,
you.
that's really
Pressure
fucking hard.
points.
Because whenever I go to massage, I request like the hardest massage possible, and this guy was really fucking hard. And after a couple minutes, I'm like, wow, he's still going really fucking hard. Like he is not letting up in the slightest. And pretty much the entire
He was
massage.
jacked.
Okay, he was jacked. Might have been shirtless too. Unconfirmed.
He was not shirtless.
But it's just an absolute clamp on my body the whole time. The hardest shit I've ever felt. All over. When he got my thighs, dude, I was just I don't know. I was like
Writhing.
destroyed. writhing in pain, really. But my eyes were closed the whole time, so I didn't see what Belky now sees. All I get from Belky, I make eye contact because, like, I don't know, you have to like turn over at a certain point, and I turned over and I saw him, and then he looked at me, and then he looked down, and I just hear
Cracking up. I lost it.
and he's laughing, and I'm like, what the fuck could you be
Because
laughing about?
I knew that you didn't know what was going on. And had
And what?
you known, you wouldn't have been able to sit through it.
Well, now you got to describe what was going on because I still don't really know what was going on other than the alligator clamp that's just been on my body.
So let me explain. I won't explain what I saw in that moment. So we get out of the massage, and I'm like, Pop, do you know what happened in that massage? And you're like, yeah, it was just the hardest massage I've ever had. He would just squeeze me over and over
C
again for
clamp, dude.
hours straight, like a C clamp. And I'm like, Pop, he had two fingers. He had two fingers. And one of his
Lobster
fingers was
claw, dude.
one of his fingers was about 6 that were morphed into one. And that giant that giant finger like kind of went into his palm where he had kind of a palm full of fingers. And a palm full of deformed at birth fingers. That's fine. I was just laughing because I knew for a fact you didn't know you were just being C-clamped over and
Right,
over and over again.
right. Because I didn't
He was
know.
clamping you between all of those, the giant finger and his kind of wrist. That's what he
Right.
was doing.
So this isn't a laugh at his disability. That's just sad. We're laughing at the fact that I just got
You didn't.
destroyed
Yeah.
by what I didn't know was a giant lobster claw for an hour straight.
And then when I saw you, when I explained that to you after and you connected the dots, it was so hysterical. Because you're like,
It,
that's how he had so much power for so long.
dude, I've never, yeah, because he had his entire arm was just destroying me. But yeah,
That
there
was
was
a
this.
tangent. That was a 20-minute tangent.
It's tough because def. Yeah, it's. I don't even know if that was funny to people.
Well,
But
we
it was
laughed about
really
it for like 2 days because you were
right.
sore and the C clamp was just hilarious.
So basically, I'm pretty
That's
much
good.
beat up. We're all beat up really because we have like coal dust all over us, and we just been riding hogs for
10 hours a
I
day.
guess now, yeah, 2 days straight.
Right. So our
So
motto of today we ride became like, tomorrow do we have to ride? Question mark.
right, morale's
Low.
wavering at
As
times
it
because it's a
morale
lot of
tends
riding.
to get low on these kinds of trips about halfway through.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I mean, you really shouldn't be doing anything for 10 hours. Never mind riding hogs
Which
across the
is
country.
extreme focus and like near death experiences all day long.
Right, we haven't even gotten to this. How about,
Oh,
we're gonna get to them though. Yeah, 30-minute pod. How about that? So okay, so here's what happens. We get back to this hotel, and now where are we? We're in Dong Hoi. I think this is Dong Hoi. Yeah, we get to Dong Hoi, which is where the blind massage is. We go back, and it's like, we hang out, we go to bed or whatever, and I'm usually the last one to fall asleep. So I'm in the room with Tom because we both lost this game. Henry won, so he has his own room, and they're all sleeping, and I'm just kind of like playing on my phone. Now I'm trying to get like amped up because I'm like, okay, today was a shitty day riding, but like tomorrow, it's tomorrow that's the sick
tomorrow we
day.
ride.
It's got to be right because I knew I had looked at these YouTube videos, which is like, hey, right after you ride through this sick pass, the next like cool riding section is the Ho Chi Minh Road, which is
Coolest.
basically where the Viet Cong, like the way they survived the American attack was they had all these trails that went through the deep, deep jungle, like border of Laos, and largely a lot of it was in Laos. These trails, and they paved over this one trail and called it the Ho Chi Minh Road, and it's just like beautiful riding trails through the deep, deep jungle. And I've been stoked about this because this is like the reason why you come to Vietnam to ride motorcycles is the Ho Chi Minh Road, right?
Yes, sir.
So
The only reason,
I'm
really.
stoked. What?
The only reason.
Right, right.
But I don't know that because I know nothing about the trip.
No research.
No research.
Belky
Why would I know
Belky
that?
did nothing. He's showing up. He's the truest of backpops. Tom, he had about 24 hours of knowledge and kind of downloaded some like maps off this bootleg website. So I don't even know what he got. But I know what should be happening. So I look at the map because I want to see like, okay, what's the path to riding through? And it's like 1 a.m, maybe 2 a.m, and I look at the map and immediate panic. Immediate panic. It's like super calm. Tom's sleeping right next to me, not a worry in the world. And I see we're like 200 miles north. Like we're riding south to north. We moonshot the fuck
Blue.
out of the pass, dude.
We're
The
going to
like
Hanoi.
dude,
We're
we're
going to
we're
Hanoi.
practically in Hanoi, dude. Like we rode so much on these like logging highways on the ugliest part of like the area where they say in all the videos are like, don't ride this fucking part. Whatever you do, don't ride this part. That's what we rode. So now
Crushed
I'm
it too.
I'm sweating. I'm panicking because I'm like, fuck. It's like we just went to Peru to do Machu Picchu, and we fucking ended up in Argentina, and we just missed Machu Picchu. Like
Oops.
we overshot, like oops the fuck out of it. So I'm panicking. I start like blasting off. I'm like, guys, I don't know what the fuck we do. We got to go back down because this is like the reason why we didn't come here to like ride logging roads. And there's nothing else. There's nothing else good in Vietnam if we kept riding north. It's like the shittiest part of the ride. So I'm like, we gotta fucking turn around, and then I don't know what we do because we just did the dumbest loop of all time. But I
Now,
panic. Yeah.
let me just say, this is par for the course for back pops.
Right.
And we're 3 back pops on the trip. It's not uncommon that you find yourself in a situation like this where you go to ride at the place and you just blow past the thing you're supposed to ride. Like that's common for a back pop.
Literally blew past it.
What sets the back pop apart is how he or she can recover from that mistake.
Right. So here's the thing. It's kind of the issue here. Well, I was really bummed at this point. Granted, we always bounce back, but I was really bummed because this was literally the whole reason coming to Vietnam, and we just fucking missed it by
Blew
hundreds
past
of
it.
miles. But I blast off and I just send all this shit like, guys, here's what we got to do. We just got to go back down because there's like no way I'm leaving Vietnam without doing the thing you come to Vietnam for. We got to go back down. We'll get back to like where we started this trip, drop off the bikes, then we'll fly to Hanoi or something. Basically changing the entire trip. And it's just me alone at like 3 a.m. And so I blast off for a while and wake up. And keep in mind, for the listeners that don't know our personal relationships, I'm not friends with Tom.
Yeah.
That's a key part of all of this.
You have to know that.
I have like talk about chips. I don't have many like chips in terms of business, I don't think. But like the
That's
one
a
chip
chip
I
on your
have is like
shoulder.
a couple a chip. Oh, like
A chip on your shoulder.
Oh yeah, chip on your shoulder. Like
Oh yeah.
maybe I don't even unpack this chip. But
Oh,
like
we got to leave it packed. We got it. At 48 minutes, some things just have to stay packed up.
I'll
Packed up.
just say this, like we don't make eye contact. Never make eye contact.
Oh, that's
even
gotta
in
make eye
conversation, if we're
contact.
talking to each other, we don't make eye contact. So it's a really weird relationship. And now we're like sleeping together in the room. And I basically, what I'm telling Tom, like the person organizing this trip, is he fucked up. And he fucked up bad. Like he ruined our trip. I'm basically saying that in like a implied way. And so I wake up in the morning, he wakes up, and it's just like the most awkward, tense room I've ever been in, dude.
Really?
Because it's like me. Because I'm bringing this up after, like I guess we're sending around itineraries, and like I should have probably reviewed this path that we were taking, but I like sent my own stuff, he sent his own stuff, and like we never looked at each other's stuff. And I
Gotta
was
look
like,
at each other's.
I figured you couldn't miss
Cross-contaminate.
Machu Picchu if you're going to see Machu Picchu. Like, how do you miss Machu Picchu? But that's fine. So we wake up in the morning and it's like really contentious. Like he's like, I don't know. We don't have to get in the drama of it. But I'm like, Belky, come rescue us because we're tweaking. regardless, we make it out. We're like, hey, we're just gonna go back and we're gonna fly to Hanoi. That's fine. We
Ride
go to
south.
these
The hogs go south.
the hogs. Well, we go
Audible.
north first. We still go north because we
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 still
had
had
to
to go
hit this
north
up.
because we had something scheduled, and then we were gonna go south right away.
Right. Hey, we're gonna get into this. It was 3 weeks. All right. We got a lot to unpack. But a lot to keep packed too. Uh,
Keep it packed.
so we go to these caves. They're fucking sick. It was like the coolest thing ever. We're like, we take these hogs on the trails where they're meant to be because we're riding on roads this whole time, and we take them into like these like dirt trails, like deep in these cool. I don't even know what you call these, like mountains, but they're like mountains in the clouds, and they're like not. They're like Tetons looking things. It was just the sickest experience, and these huge ass caves. So we just hang there. And this is like supposed to be the end of the Ho Chi Minh Road, which for us now is just the beginning. So, um,
That was kind of beautiful, the way you said that. It was meant to be the end, but for us, the back pops, it was just the beginning.
right. So maybe it's who knows? Maybe it's cool because we would have been fucking, I don't know, beat up by the end of it. But the next day, we're coming off like log riding and like shitty riding overall. And it was also raining when we were going to these caves to see. So it's like bad back to back days of riding. Morale was kind of low, but then kind of high at the same time because we bounced back quick. And now we get onto the Ho Chi Minh Road. And oh man, let me summon, dude. Let me summon, dude. This is
Summon it.
I think I'm like halfway through my fucking itinerary. This is so bad.
No, we only have a couple more main points.
I know. I just want to
Right?
make sure. Okay.
I can only think of really one near-death
Well,
experience. Oh, I guess there was the oil
yeah,
slick.
just a couple like dumb. Okay.
And
So basically, it's like if you died and went to heaven, and you're like, God, I want to ride hogs in the coolest place in the world. He'd bring you to the Ho Chi Minh Road
he would.
because it's literally like this tiny one lane road. Basically, it has two-way traffic, but there's like no one ever rides it. It's basically open road. You won't see anyone for 30 minutes an hour. Just through the most beautiful mountains in like the early morning when the clouds are just like starting to like the sun's starting to burn through the clouds, and it's just like the most magical. Like they shot King Kong in parts of these areas. Like it's just like a fucking surreal experience in the middle of the jungle, like deep jungle of Vietnam. And we're riding through there, and you don't have to worry about traffic or anything, so you can fucking rip. And I'm a ripper, so
You are.
I'm in the front pop, and dude, I am
As
literally
the
like
only one
full
who's rode a
throttle. The
hog
most
before.
right. I at least have like more than 2 days of experience, and so I'm fucking ripping, and it's basically like Tom behind me, and then Belky who's going slow. Like you guys were slower, but you're trying to keep up, so you're like pushing pace. And kind of the big caveat here is I've ridden before. So I've ridden on roads, I've ridden on dirt, I've ridden on
Written.
gravel, like written. Dude, I was a Shartner,
A
dude. I
little,
was a farm boy.
little dirt
Um,
boy.
so I realized like the most important thing when you're riding is to be aware of what you're riding on. Because it
Nice.
drastically changes grip.
Nice. I thought you were
And
going to say the most
now the
important
thing
was
is,
to have fun.
oh, that dude, I actually when I was riding, I was trying to take it all in because it was like I think it was the most fun thing I've ever done in my life.
Whoa!
I
53rd
don't,
minute. And it's
I
the
don't
most fun thing he's ever done in his whole life.
buried the lead, dude.
Whoa! Bring
I
that
don't I
right
don't
to the
know
top.
I don't know if there was like in terms of just adrenaline packed, like just the
It's a
coolest.
lot of adrenaline.
I mean, you're not a big adrenaline guy, but like for junkies like me, because I actually thought about this. There was just in riding alone, there was a serious like non-zero chances I really hurt myself.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what kept me fucking alive, dude. Um, so whatever, I'm ripping, and I didn't tell you guys how to like properly ride and like assess surfaces because we've pretty much been like riding on normal roads until now. It's like the weaviest, like you can't go 50 feet without a hairpin turn because it's the mountains.
It's back-to-back hairpin turns for 8 hours.
Right. and I'm like fucking full throttle the whole time. So I'm ripping, and then Tom's behind, and then way in the back is Belky. So I'll usually like fucking go full throttle, and then after like a minute, I'll turn around and look back. But I just open it up for a little bit, and this is maybe like an hour or two into riding, and after like a couple minutes of like full throttle, Tom's right, I don't know, semi behind me. I wait up. He finally comes into view, and we just don't see Belky. Belky's nowhere to be found, and we're listening. We're like, cause fuck. Normally he's like behind us, and it'll take him like a
Could hear
minute, but
my
he
hog.
normally gets there. No hog, dude. No, we couldn't hear a hog anywhere, and so now we're freaking out because we're like, fuck. Did he just like fly off a cliff? Or like we're hoping he's
I'm
okay.
here.
We spin
I'm
around.
here.
We spin around. Right. It's ruined. But we spin around, we fly back, and it's just like this like strip of gravel and just like this bike on the ground. Belky's just like, I don't know, dude. You were fucking
I ate
you
it.
were just
I
you
ate it.
ate it,
That's what
dude.
happened. That's what
You ate it.
happened. I'm on this turn. There's gravel on the side of the lane. I hit the gravel. My bike just dumps. Absolutely dumps. I go down with it. I'm being dragged along the gravel. We don't have bike clothes on. Why would we have bike clothes on? We're
No.
wearing smart wool shirts. Smart wool shirts
well,
on
no,
our
because it's
hogs.
also 100 degrees out. So
It's
like
so hot.
it's the fucking hottest shit in the world.
So my thumb's falling off, and I was
You
scraped up
shattered your new
everywhere.
camera.
Oh yeah,
360.
yeah.
We might have footage of that. But
We don't.
basically, like,
We don't. The
this
footage
was
was
the first.
corrupted.
We didn't realize we were human and like mortals until Belky dumps. And
Mere
now we're all like,
mortals.
oh fuck, this whole like thing, like chance of death, that's actually something we should factor in and probably not kill ourselves. Because now we just like we're behind on time because we got to ride 10 hours through the mountains. Not much room
Have
for
to.
error, which we didn't
We're
really
going
know.
south. We got to ride 10 hours
Um,
south.
and we've been like getting a lot of drone footage and everything too, so we're kind of behind already. We patch Belky up, we're good. We get back on the hogs, and we're like, hey, let's take it easy. But that probably lasts like 30 seconds before I'm fucking lighting it up again. But this is very shortly. This is shortly after Belky dumped and
It's 10 minutes
had a serious experience.
max.
We're now ripping back on the road, fucking bobbing and weaving through the
Buried
mountains.
this
And
lead,
there's
let me tell you. This lead has been buried.
hold on. Hold on. Let me think how I want to do this.
57 minutes. The lead is buried. Yeah, you take it. You take a swig. You take a
57
swig.
minutes.
Because this is the whole episode. This is
Oh
the
my
whole
God.
episode right here. Oh, what do you got there? Baj?
Fuck. I guess I can't really.
No, you got it. You just here's what you do. Because you're a method actor. You just
Right.
imagine it's minute 4 right now.
Okay, minute 4.
And you've got the lead in your little hand. You know it. you know the setup, you know the conflict and the resolution of this lead.
All right.
It's all up to you. Minute 4.
So let me put this in context. All right. We're on hogs. Deep in the jungle of Vietnam, on the border of Laos, and we're ripping through the Ho Chi Minh Trail, right? It's this fucking winding mountain road of just the craziest riding you'll ever have. And on that road, we finally get to this area where it opens up. And I'm like well in the lead of our little pack of 3. And there's no one else on the road. We're like 2 hours from the nearest town. So no one's around. I open it up. I'm well in the lead. You guys are probably, I don't know, like 100 meters back or something, like
Within sight.
probably within sight. And I'm flying up this road, and the road, it has
I just got the shivers. I just got the shivers because I know it's coming.
Don't get the shivers
I
yet.
know it.
The
Every
road
time.
is made of it's a 1-lane road, and it has these like big tiles. They're probably like 10-foot gaps in between each big tile, and in between them there's like a little connection piece. So it's like a little bit of black in between each thing, and it's just going up the road.
It's a relief.
So
in construction, it's called a relief cut. So that
There's a relief cut.
So the concrete doesn't crack. It's just
Right.
It's a pre-crack.
So we got relief every 10 feet, and I see like way up at the end of this straightaway, there's like a slightly thicker relief. I'm like, that's kind of weird. That looks pretty thick. But I'm like I'm far away, but I'm ripping, maybe going like 30, 40 miles an hour up this road. And the closer I get, the weirder this looks, because it's thick and it's black. Like most reliefs just kind of look a little gray. This is like a thick black relief, but it stretches the whole way. So I'm like, oh, it's got to be something. And now I'm flying, and I get closer, and I'm like, huh, that's really thick. Is that like did maybe a like a car tire or like something fly off a car and maybe like go across the road? I don't know what that is. And now I get to the point where I'm like maybe 30 feet out from this thing. And this is all happening within seconds, keep in mind. And out of nowhere, this little car tire, whatever this piece is, just rears up.
Oh,
Middle
does
of the
it?
road. Middle of the road, dude. Look, you
It's a
see that?
living thing. It's a living thing.
Can you
Oh,
tell what that is, dude?
it's not a
That's not a
bicep.
car tire.
It's not a car
That's a
tire.
King Cobra, dude.
Oh, King Cobra in the Vietnam jungle.
Didn't know they
Okay,
existed.
pause. So pause. Now I'm 2 people back. I'm probably 80 feet back from you. Same thought in my mind. I'm like, oh wow, there's nobody out here, but there's oddly a tire in the middle of the road. And you get up to it,
Yeah,
and
and,
you
and
you,
easy,
you
easy, easy,
easy.
easy. So I get up to it, okay, and now put yourself in my shoes, okay. I'm leading the pack, got a couple behind me, and I'm now eye to eye. This thing is like much higher than you expect a car tire, but definitely a snake to be. It is now like looking at me, and it wants to fight because I'm ripping, and imagine like flying up this road. So I see it. This all happens in seconds. And I'm like, that's a fucking cobra. I veer to the right to like not hit this thing square in the face and kill both of us. I veer to the right. And like as I'm going to dodge it, because I realized like very close to it, um, I go barely miss its head, and I'm like, I hit the end of its tail, and as I'm doing that, I see it like lunging, and so I fucking swanton my
Oh,
leg right over like it coming at it's striking, miss it, totally miss it, and then Belky,
well,
I guess in the
right.
pack, you saw
So
me
from some
ricocheting this thing.
so from my point of view, I'm like, that's a tire because I'm still 100 feet out. That's a tire. Why not? And lo and behold, you run over the end of the tire, which happens to be a tail, we now know. And I see this thing come up and like almost like jump at your leg, like almost smack you in the leg. And I was like, wow, he kicked that tire up, and that's a tire, and it almost hit him in the leg. Then I get up to it, and this thing's now making noises or something. And it's just middle of the road. It's at
Right,
this
because it
point
just got
because
hit by a hog.
you ran over its tail or its whole body, I guess. And so it coiled its whole body up, but it's still standing. Its main thing is standing like 4.5 feet in the air, and its hood is out. Whole hood is out.
Right,
So now
right.
Tom and I
The
need to
hood
ride
is the
back.
scariest part. The
Very
fucking
scary.
hood, it's it's like an actual dude. I can't
A King Cobra.
describe it, dude.
It's an actual King Cobra, and I couldn't believe it. It didn't feel real because we get up
None of
to
it
it,
felt real.
and yeah, I don't know. I
So
don't know.
you, because I, so you said because I went to the right. I went to the right of the cobra. I guess I hit it. And where did you go? Because I didn't see any
Well,
of this. I just flew by it, and, like ripped
you
over
went
it,
to the right.
swim moved it.
I saw it on your right leg. It came up and lunged at you on your right side. But
No,
but what I think we determined happened is it kind of got all fiddled up and flipped around
vortex, dude.
because you smoked it. You ran. Did we make clear you ran over the King Cobra? Did we make that clear?
As it tried to bite me.
Did we make that clear? And we also didn't know it. So we all grouped up after that, and we're freaking out. I actually think I do have footage of that. Of that. Um, we were so dumb. We didn't realize at the time how near death we just escaped. So we go back to find it. We're like, let's back pops. We're turning around. We got to go make sure
Right.
that was a Cobra. We
It
have to
was
make
the
sure.
highest adrenaline like crack out of our minds we ever were. And what we didn't realize, like we go back to find it, it wasn't there. I guess it like fucking slithered into the actual
Ugh.
jungle. Like keep in mind this road is like like jungle is just like dense jungle is just on both sides of this road. So like for some reason I never even fathomed the fact that we were in nature, like I said before, but we're in the most nature possible. And so what we soon realized was not only are we like 2 hours away from civilization, which is not good if you get bit by a king cobra, but king cobra bites can kill like 12 men. And so it'll kill you in literally
In
15 to 30
15
minutes.
minutes. 15 minutes. 20
15
people
minutes.
in 15 minutes. And it lunged at your leg. We didn't
And
find
it's
that
like,
out till later. And that's why we haven't unpacked this until right now. Because it just shouldn't be unpacked.
it
We just
shouldn't
need
be.
to just bottle that up and move on with life. That's what
I
needs to
also looked
happen.
it up. You know, it's the fastest snake. It'll go 12
Uh,
miles an hour.
well, the
And this thing was
hogs.
long, dude. It covered the entire road. Like it it,
Ah.
it was, dude, I wish I could describe. Hopefully like if we animate this like you can see, it is fucking scary, dude. It was really long, really tall,
And it wasn't just
really
like you
hooded,
see
dude.
a snake from a distance and it's in the wild. It's like, oh yeah, that's a snake. We should back up slowly. Like they don't really attack. This thing was in defense mode, in the center
Dude.
of the road, trying to bite you, and then facing off Tom and I behind you because it's threatened.
uh um so yeah, hey guys, we didn't get bit. That's sick. We keep riding
Unpack
on.
that.
Um we ride on. It was just the best riding ever
It really
that
was.
day. But it was long, dude. It was really long. We got beat up. We finally get to this city called Quezon. It was really shitty, the
Oh,
city.
that
We ate
place
a lot of
sucked.
jungle meat. And the next day we ride. It's like one more day to get back to where we started and do this massive fucking loop. But this last day, which we're already beat up because it's just the most riding ever. And like Belky crashed. I almost got bit.
No,
We
no.
almost
Well,
all got bit.
I'd crashed days ago. At this point, then
No.
you what?
You crashed the Cobra day, and that same day we get to Quezon.
I thought it was like 2 days later. Well, my point is though, like you and
No,
Tom were still riding like you were immortal. I don't know what
right?
day it
No,
was.
okay. So I remember this because I had to look it up. That because we rode for 10 hours, so it's literally
Fuck.
like 200 miles of riding. Um, so we finally get to Quezon, whatever shitty jungle meat. Then we get another day of riding to get back. Like it was only 2 days to go through this Ho Chi
Whoa.
Minh Road. Day one was 10 hours. Day two was 10 hours. And like we went through all the different ecosystems the world could imagine. It felt like we were in Afghanistan. Like we dove in this river, and it was the crazy experience.
Oh
But
yeah.
so the second day, it's like really cool. That's when the tunnels came in, and like Tom went through patties of poop and splattered it all in my face. Um, but like another amazing day of riding. Um, and it was awesome. I was going like potentially even faster that day because I felt more comfortable, and cool drone shots of everything. We get to like this really cool lookout point, and there's this like American or Canadian guy there who we're talking to for a little bit, and he's like, yeah, it's a bummer, like none of my friends or family want to ride, like so I just go to all these crazy places, like I think he literally went to Afghanistan, or where did he go?
Pakistan.
Pakistan, sorry. Pakistan riding, all over Canada riding, and he's like, "Yeah, this is amazing riding. Like it's awesome you guys are doing this, and like it's pretty smart that you guys have like at least pants on and like long sleeve, even though it's one layer. Like a lot of people just go in shorts. Like, yeah, dude. Like, yeah, we only got like shoes, no boots or anything like you do, but we try and keep it safe." He's like, "Yeah, guys, fucking ride on." And so he goes one way, we go the other, and not joking, within one maybe 2 minutes, I'm
It
riding in the
was
lead, and I'm like, let me take it safe. I'll let Tom by, right? My good friend Tom. So I wave him on, and as I wave him on, it's like we're on the downhill here. Um, so he goes accelerates to pass me, and as he accelerates to pass me, what I didn't know and didn't see was right in front of me is this like algae slick. It's just this
algae
this
slick.
it's like water somehow bubbled up through the cracks, and there's all this like green slick slime all over the road right where I'm telling him to pass. So as he's like just going by me, accelerating into basically a corner too, because I kind of waved him by pretty late. Uh, accelerating into this corner, he hits the slick, and I'm right behind him, and fucking dumps. Just
Dumps.
dumps, dude. And it's like it's an explosion of him falling, the shock and awe,
He's
like
spinning.
dude, spin cycle, and I'm like literally right behind him because he just passed me, and I'm fucking like I like clench everything. I C clamp like everything I can. So I C clamp luckily the clutch, but also the throttle. So I'm like revving right into his fucking head, and I have no idea what's going on. He's in a blender spin cycle, and finally comes to like a halt, maybe 30 feet later, and just a mess. And I'm fucking like I'm still on the throttle, like literally inches from his head, and I don't know like in shock. I don't know what I got to do to let off because I'm not sure which hand does which. And so I'm just panicking and I'm still on the throttle. And like, luckily I figured out like this hand was the throttle hand. So I let this one go instead of this one or I would have killed Tom. But
uh,
it was
you know
nuts.
what?
We finally
Keep that one packed too. Just pack
packed
that
that
right
one
away.
tight, dude.
Pack,
Um,
pack them.
we kept like half breaking the bikes, but these were resilient. So we just like tool bang them into each other and like bang parts together, and somehow they were okay. We had to like take parts off the bike and like throw them into the woods, and luckily the rental place never figured it out. Um, but yeah, Tom exploded. We're like, hey, let's take it easy. Let's just get back
Tom
safe.
exploded.
Little did we know we're like still fucking 6 hours from home.
Hours.
And we're like at the peaks of these mountains, like way up in the fucking I don't even know what that mountain range is called, but way up border of Laos. And we finally like start going down, but then it's starting to get dark and it's also starting to rain, and we've never ridden
And
in the rain,
fog.
and we're dude,
Dense. We're in like clouds rolling through these hills as the sun's
ugh,
going down and the rain's picking up. And it hasn't rained at all. And
I
this is the home stretch. This is like
right.
we have 2 hours to get home safely. Things are not going well.
This is like we wake up at like 6:45 and ride all day long. And so now it's literally like 12 hours later and the sun is going down, like the sun is down and it's raining and we can't see anything. Belky's going like literally 2 miles an hour around curves. Just
Well,
because
I just saw Tomas in the algae slick. I
right,
was like,
right.
I'm not getting algified. No
And
way.
we look at the map and we're still like almost I want to say 100 kilometers
So
from where we
far.
had to be, like over 50 miles away. And it's a panic. We're like, dude, let's just get a hotel. And I'm like, no, we got to push on. I can't see anything because I
Well,
have my
yeah, so
sunglasses on at
out of
night.
nowhere, out of nowhere we're going slowly and there's just like this gorgeous like glamping resort. And it's like these little bungalow teepees and string lights. It was like the most beautiful place ever. We're like, oh, maybe we should just stop and not die. But no, dude, we got the
Yeah,
hogs. So we
we got the
barrel
hogs. We pushed
on.
on. We finally like started hitting one of the cities that was close, and we had the confidence of 1,000 men, or at least I did. So we were
No, dude, I
going
was
literally
quaking in my
full throttle,
boots.
probably 70, 80 miles an hour through the highway, just fucking ripping. We finally got home safe. Um, well, as safe as
Well,
could
yeah,
be
the
without
once
anyone
we got
dying.
out of the mountains, the rain subsided and we were on normal highways without hairpin turns.
Right,
So we had
right,
had like the best training in the mountains and we could just gun it that home stretch.
right. It was cake. Um, hey, so that pretty much wraps up Vietnam.
Wow, dude.
Oh wait, well, it doesn't really because we just literally went back to where we started. Um, wraps up. I guess we flew to Hanoi. Hanoi was like
There's
an okay
also
city.
just some
We
like
did a
sick
cruise.
history you don't hear from because I buried this lead an hour and 13 in. We call it the Vietnam War, right? The folks in the South call it the Civil War, and the
Mm,
folks in the North call it the American War. And like that whole
mhm.
dichotomy was super interesting. By the way, no clue why the US was there. If they took one look at those jungles,
Right.
what were we doing over there?
Yeah, that's where it's like you got to have skin in the game. Like if one politician just went out to those jungles and saw the King Cobra, it's like you're not supposed to be out
Or
there,
the
dude.
Viet Cong,
They're
because
crawling
they're
hundreds
coming
of
out of
miles through
tunnels.
tunnels.
They're setting booby
How?
traps. And uh, to get back to the density point, there is no possible way you would be able to see a booby trap. in this forest. No possible. They're hiding them in the ground, under leaves. No possible way.
Well,
Densest thing I've ever been in my life.
it was also like they would say how you're American, so you can't tell like who's a good Vietnamese versus a bad Vietnamese. Like they can't even tell other than their accents from each other. So it's like you'd meet someone during the day, and then during the night they just go in their house and just build booby traps and then set them up in the forest
Or
or the
you'd be
jungle.
drinking and you'd be drinking in a bar. You'd come out. You'd go to the bathroom. You'd come back in and like your chair was booby trapped, and they'd just blow your head off.
Right. It's like, dude, no thanks. So that was a big
Psychological
mistake.
warfare.
If
Oh,
only we
another
could have
one.
told them.
Another one. So, hey, we're gonna wrap it up. I swear. But the other one is Americans and the South Vietnamese thought they started getting really good at tracking the Viet Cong because they would see their footprints in the jungle, and they're like, okay, we see them walking this way, so we're gonna find out where their little hidey hole is.
Mm,
The Viet Cong are some guerrilla fighters. Okay, they
gorillas.
realize after some time, like, oh, they're on to us. They're finding our footprints. They're figuring out where we're going. So we're the Viet Cong. Here's what we're gonna do: flip our souls around on our shoes and walk the same way. Now all of our footprints are backwards, but we're walking forwards. And it's like that kind of psychological warfare where now you don't know if the footprints are correct or if they're false. So footprints are useless altogether.
Right.
And like that's the
Right.
kind of battle that the US was fighting, and they got smoked.
And you're on their turf. That's why the only thing we could do was just bomb the fuck out of everything and Agent Orange everything, and that's why you get a C clamp 50 years later. But it's like
It
it's
is.
a crazy country. We went on like a river cruise at the end. It was kind of cool, or not a river cruise, like a
Oh,
I
Halong
don't even
Bay.
remember the name of it.
Oh, so that was
Halong
weird.
Bay.
Is
That was kind
it's
of
kind of
cool.
weird like when you do these kinds of trips, it's very different from doing the like tourist group trip. So we go from like having ultimate freedom being in the jungle to being on this like super like white tourist group going on a cruise through these cliffs and like I don't know, that's just a whole I don't like that.
Hey,
I don't like that.
okay. Can I feel like we just we're never gonna do these again, so we gotta hit really quick, like Philippine and Singapore, really
Oh, he
quick.
carries on. He carries on. Dude, boot it up.
Well,
Boot it up.
well,
Onward and
there's not
upward.
much to be said. Um,
Onward
so
and upward, dude.
we leave and we go to the Philippines because we have this. We're only halfway through the trip at this point, which was fucking hilarious
Mistake.
because we just wanted to go
Big
home.
mistake.
Um, so we go
Optimal
to the
trip length
Philippines, but it
is
wasn't.
10 days.
This part wasn't a mistake. This was
That
fucking
wasn't a
amazing.
mistake.
We were just
No, that wasn't
beat
a
up.
mistake.
We go to the Philippines and we finally meet the enormous team that we didn't even really realize was as big as it was. There are 50 of us. So we get to this island resort in the Philippines thanks to our buddy Nico, whose family runs it, and show up. And it's literally 50 people who are all like dependent on this creation that just emerged out of nowhere, basically. And somehow we're kind of responsible for a lot of this. And it's like, overwhelming, dude. It was the craziest experience of just like all these people who you've seen for years now being real and like them thinking the same, and it's like realizing we're all in this together because we've just been 2D for fucking years, and like, oh my god, you're a person I can hug and like hang out with and drink with, and it was lovely.
Roll the dead bug.
Dude,
Roll right
I
there.
will say,
Roll the dead bug.
um the dead bug, I don't think that'll ever make it public,
That we got
but
to unpack that video.
I will say what was cool was like this was Nico's family's resort, so we could kind of take it over in a sense, which is good and bad. But like, I don't think we'll ever party as hard as like it was. It was taking over. Like there was a band that was supposed to be playing on our dinner on the beach, and they were just there for us. So we have a couple of musicians in the team, so we're like, oh, let's just take over for a little bit, maybe do a song, and then we'll give it back to them. We took the guitar
Full set.
and the microphone. The whole night was over, dude.
Full set on
The,
their instruments.
right. We literally we just had people go. It was like talent show basically going through with the team, and everyone's drinking really hard. The people that were supposed to be performing just got fed up and fucking like went home, and we just kept ripping all night, karaoke, everything. Everyone was fucking sloshed, and it was mosh pits of like just dozens of people just
Well,
going
I
crazy.
was not sloshed because at that point I had COVID from your
Right.
explosive diarrhea 4 days ago.
Everyone was kind of exploding. There was pant shitting everywhere. Um, there were
Ah.
pig heads flying around, dead bugs, as in me just on my back, hands everywhere. That's kind of a weird thing to say, I guess, out loud.
Well,
But
you have to see it. You have to see the
right.
clip. That's why we're gonna roll the
It was
clip.
just a really fun trip. I don't know. Is there anything else to add?
Um,
Oh, it's
no.
cool. Like it's cool seeing what we're building. I know a lot of people might not care about this, but it's like especially today, right before this, you were unpacking this video that Elijah did, who is one of the people that was fucking sloshed, dude. But it was a sick video on Five Guys, and it's like we're creating honestly what I think is even better than Pixar. Like it's like this unreal level of just teaching that's on par with the best of the best in the world, and everyone's so bought in. Like we're bought into them after this experience, they're bought into us, and it's just like, hey, we really believe in this thing, um, and we just like we want to be creating awesome stuff for a while, and we have some like there's
Yeah, like
still a level of talent that like we haven't even touched, especially with compounding with what we can build
the
over time.
I think like pre meeting everyone in person. This just goes for remote companies. Like the whole thing just felt like a video game. It was like we're never online at the same time. We record stuff, the team edits it, they're kick ass. Like we know everyone's avatar. It was just like avatars. It was like Sims. And then you meet in
Mm.
person, it's like, oh my gosh, like Tony's a person, Elijah's a person, Pam is a person, right? Like and
Still says Pam, not Pom.
Pam. Uh I, I don't ever yeah. But
Oh,
it's
well, okay, sorry.
what? It
No,
was
I
just
was just gonna bring
cool.
up the.
So oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is. What's cool is how quickly it's almost like you had like 80% of a team or a company because it was all remote for 2 years. And then you were just filling in that last 20%, all being in person. Like everything came together. And that was super cool.
Yeah, yeah. It was that last puzzle piece that really came
It's
together,
like,
and it was
oh,
awesome.
and
So
we're all
we'll try and do
humans.
more of that. Right. It was really weird the first day because what we didn't realize was we were flying from Manila to Bohol, which is the place, and everyone was on the same flight, which we didn't realize. So we kind of showed up in the
We were,
morning, and it was just
yeah,
the
we weren't
entire team
prepared.
there, and it was it was so
Well,
much,
yeah, it's like,
and
so we're just in the airport.
it's
We're
cool.
ready for our flight. We're thinking like, we're just going to meet everyone at the resort. And literally the next person that walks in the airport, I'm like, wait, I know that avatar. And she looks at us a little long. I'm like, oh, you're Gene. And like Gene is like kick ass in this video game Sims, but like it's really hard to explain. It's really hard.
No,
It was it
it
was
was
weird.
sick. So Philippines was sick. We're gonna do more of that, become a real company, and then we flew to Singapore. And really quick, Singapore was like compared to Manila in particular. Manila was like one of the most like underdeveloped cities. Like I'm saying that
Yeah,
in a
I
nice
don't
way. It
think
was
we
like
did Manila right. I think we went to Chinatown. That was about the only thing we had time for because I was sick as a dog,
we just went to
and
maybe a bad part of the city. I don't
it
know,
was
but it
pretty
was like
grim.
it was grim. And then we went to like the most modern city we've ever been to. Like even the US, like you have to go and talk to someone to enter the country. We just entered the country and it was like robots doing that for us. Which is my first time with that. And then like the subways were like everything felt like almost over sanitized, like over beautiful. Like
It's so clean. It's so wealthy. It's just all put
it feels
together.
like if you ever read the
It's almost
Great
like a
Gatsby,
utopia.
well, except for the sweltering heat, because
Yeah,
it's a jungle, remind.
also a
It's like
jungle.
in the Great Gatsby, there's I think they call it like old egg versus new egg or something like that. It's like the old money versus the new money. It very much felt like the new money, where it's like more impressive because the tech is better and everything, but it's missing that like character. It's missing like some depth, some like I don't know if it's like elegance or what it is, but it was just like I don't know. Coming back to New York, like it just feels like that it has more of a more character, more of like life to it. Um, and also like culturally, it's a little bit different with how everyone behaves. But they're also crackheads on the train, and I get scared every time I ride it. So like pros and cons. But
Pros and cons.
overall, Asia's a sick trip. We probably did it for too long. You should probably really just do like 2 weeks any place before
It
coming
was
back.
funny because you were asking me before this trip, you were like, "Do we have enough time in Vietnam?" And I was like, I was on a long trip in November, December of last year, and I was like, I think 10 days is the optimal trip.
Nailed it.
Lo and behold, we roll around week 3, week 4, and like it felt like a fever dream by the end.
Oh, and we all got
It's
COVID throughout the trip, starting with me, if that wasn't clear.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so that was awesome.
but
Super
yeah,
carriers, super bugs.
super
That's it.
bugs, atomized.
Garden